menace, just a menace, just a menace. Menace to sobriety, just a menace.
I remember vividly you saying that I can't have you around me, mate, and me trying. I couldn't even get the words out to argue my point because I was fucked.
Yeah.
And that hit me though, but you don't know that was a favour you did me because I thought, fuck, don't throw away your fucking ticket, don't throw away the people that got your back. I remember it. You're gonna have to put up with the fact that you've caused trauma to these people. You've been an arsehole, and you need to understand that you can't push boundaries with them. Like when I tried to have a pint at my brother's 30th in my mum's face, no, not interested, because that was my fault. Pint or not, it doesn't matter how that would have gone for me. What I did to her just by even looking at it, she's going straight back to...
Oh, here he goes. We've got to go through this again.
Yeah. And when I say I was bad, I mean fucking drinking dregs out recycling bins bad at one point. Everyone has a taxi driver like that who'll do it for cheap, and you can smoke in the car, but he does heroin while he's driving.
You didn't tell me that he was doing...
No, I didn't, and I thought, do you know what?
He does heroin while he's driving?
Yeah, no, but that for medical reasons, because he's addicted to it, so he had to.
Just a menace. Menace to sobriety.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Menace to Sobriety, hosted by myself, Daniel O'Reilly, aka Dapper Laughs. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, this is an unfiltered, no holds barred look at all things sobriety related, mental health, well-being, this podcast grew out of my own sobriety. I'm currently sitting on, let me just get the days up for you. I'm currently sitting on 93 days sober, which for me is amazing. And the reason why I'm doing this podcast is I've got this group on Facebook, Men and Their Emotions, where lads are just anonymously talking on there and posting their problems and opening up and talking, and a lot of them are going through struggles like I did or I am with an unhealthy relationship with alcohol and drugs, and this is an honest look at it, man, and an honest chat. And I'm a little bit worried about today's podcast. I'm not going to lie to you. I've had various guests on here, people from the industry, psychiatrists, hypnotists, celebrities, loads of stuff for different angles and ways to look at this. And this simply is one that I really wanted to do with a good pal of mine from back in the day, and we spent a lot of time on the sesh together. And this guy. Before I introduce him, this is kind of where the Sesh Gremlin is sort of based on this geezer. Those of you that will know him, he was undoubtedly the biggest maniac on the sesh that I know. And I can feel him squirming in his seat now. He's shitting himself. But I thought it'd be really interesting to get him on, because at the point of when I met him and the phase that we both went through our lives, it was a really difficult time. We were having a great fun, but we were a right mess. And I never would have dreamed in a million years that this guy would ever be sober, because he was a fucking genuine wreckhead. And on that, how are you, Callum?
Yeah, I'm Callum and I'm an alcoholic. How are you?
Callum, yeah. This is Callum, or Cali B, as we call him. Anyone that knows me personally, any of my friends that know me personally, or my business colleagues, or you are a business associate now.
We work together now. Unbelievable stuff. Yeah.
Anyone that knows me or that has been to any of my events over many years will
have had me talk your ear off.
Yeah, would have had you chew his ear off. But how long have we known each other? When did we meet?
Do you know what? Time has warped for me over the years. I would have said about 8 years ago. I think we met. I had that Poxy magazine.
Yeah, front
Facebook
fans.
Page. Yeah, and I was all over you. Yeah. It was when you were having all your dramas with the ITV.
Yeah,
which I was unaware of because I was a fanboy. My sister told me about that after we met.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think about 8 years ago. I remember vividly coming into the pub and seeing you in the corner and having 2 pints at the bar just to get the nerve to come and have a chat with you.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and. Yeah, that was an interesting day.
Yeah, we met. So how did we meet? Was that how we met?
I wanted to get involved with... I got your number through a pal of mine. I wanted to talk about... I don't know what it was. Like anything, I was latching on to something. I had no real direction in my life at the time. And I had this page, and you were sort of semi-interested. And I thought, right, well, you're good on social media. Let's have a chat.
And see if there was something we could do.
Yeah, and see if there was something there. And I remember about 15 minutes into our conversation, you just looked, oh, do you get on it? And I was like, yeah, as it happens, yeah, I do. And then... And then the business meeting was gone. It was away. We were in some poxy taxi on the way up to... I remember we sat in the Sky Lounge bar, radio bar.
Yeah.
Up in, and my mum had lent me some money, and I remember fucking buying. We had sliders. You were getting chatted up by some birds in the sun. I was sniffed up. I was fucking thinking, I've made it, boy. And that was 8 years ago,
Yeah.
and nothing ever materialised out of that because obviously we just got smashed.
Yeah.
That's the end.
Yeah, so from what I can remember was how I met you was it was a business meeting. We had a few drinks and then we started talking about the session, because some of my content was around that then, and then we ended up getting on the session. I can remember coming away from that meeting thinking, nice guy. I'm not sure I'm going to do any business with him because he's off his fucking head, but nice guy. I never would have thought that would have been friends all these years and been through what we've been through. But I can remember the second time we met. You said, "Oh yeah, I want you to come and do something." Meet, and I thought, you know what? I had a good time. I'll come back in. I'll see what else is going on. And also, I knew, we was going to probably have another sesh. And all I can remember from the second time we met was you going, "Oh, there's this party I want to take you to. Come with me." I got my pal picking me up, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" I was a little bit nervous. I ended up getting, and we were off our night. I ended up getting in a taxi or a car with with your pal, and driving across London. And then the next thing, the fucking car broke down on our second meeting, and you had me out the back pushing the fucking motor down through central London.
I did. Everyone has a taxi driver like that. He'll do it for cheap, and you can smoke in the car, but he does heroin while he's driving. And,
you didn't tell me that he was doing.
No, I didn't. And I thought, do you know what?
He does heroin while he's driving.
Yeah, no, but that for medical reasons because he's addicted to it, so he had to. He let you smoke in the car. So I wrote off that. I thought that was a fair balance. But yeah, he had a beaten up old McGann. I spoke to him yesterday. I said, I'm going on your show. Do you mind me saying that you were on Brown at that time? He said, you tell the story, Callum. I'm sober now. So he's another one.
I love that. I love how you...
It was fucking mental.
Yeah, it was fucking mental, yeah. And we went to some weird part. I can't even remember the rest of it. But I love how you weigh that up. That's a proper addict's mentality. I can get a free lift and he lets me smoke in the car. But he does everything when he's driving. So do you know what? Fucking double bubble. We're all right.
He was honest about it.
He was honest.
I knew where I stood with it. I didn't tell you.
I didn't fucking know that.
Yeah,
no.
I know, but I thought you.
There's me trying to repair my career and fucking Jesus.
Yeah, you were fun to be around, and so was I. I mean, it was a giggle, wasn't it? And you remember these things right for a fucking traffic light as well, wasn't it? We had to push the car with everyone beeping at us. You must have been thinking, what am I doing next to this penis?
Yeah. And it's a good thing that we had drugs in common because I kept coming back to meet you.
Yeah.
But no, the reason I'm getting you on, Callum, is because you're one, we've got a lot of funny stories which I thought would be entertaining for the podcast, but two, we went through quite a dark period of our lives, and I think that a lot of lads out there that are, or women as well, that are listening, they might be going through a similar thing where they think they're in the midst of the party, but actually
they're not.
They're not. Or what they're actually doing is they're fucking lost and trying to. I can remember like some of the stuff that happened in my life around that time, but. It was devastating for me, but when I was out with you lot or a certain group and we were all in the kitchen or we were at a bar and those brief moments felt like nothing was wrong.
It's short-term happiness, isn't it? And you sit there and you've got your arms around some fucker you've met 3 times in your life, but you're hugging him like a brother.
Yeah.
And it's false. Everything around you is false. And people go home, the party stops, and you've got to pick up the pieces. And when I had to pick up the pieces, I used alcohol as a coping mechanism. So what people didn't see was the gin and tonics in the morning and getting on with my life under the influence of alcohol, and no one would have known any different. But inside, I was running away from all the shit that's catching up on me. You haven't got your life together, and people will make you feel good. You very quickly realise who your mates are as well, the ones that pull you into it and the ones that want to pull you out. So, at that time, I was miles away from sobriety and wasn't even close to knowing that I needed to make a real fucking change. And it was only real, life shocks and a family coming along and, that gave me a kick and made me think, what am I doing, Because you're stuck.
How would you describe, if you could describe your, because I got accused of glorifying drug culture by a journalist the other day when my first podcast went out, and my answer to that was, well, fucking taking drugs is glorious. That's the fucking problem.
Well, yeah, otherwise you wouldn't do it.
No, yeah, it's kind of fucking Moorish.
I mean, it's ridiculous. You go and spend 200 quid on something that's gone in 6-7 hours, and you're wondering about more when you're financially not stable enough to do it. If drugs weren't giving you something, no one would do it.
Yeah.
But you are masking, you are slapping a big plaster over something that you need to address, and that's the main thing. And it just eats you away. You know, I'm still a slim lad, but you know, I probably haven't looked as well as you know. And I substituted cocaine for food, and who would have known that would have been a positive step. But you know, when you get stuck like that, it's very lonely. You know, and when you're doing it in the week, for example, people love you at the weekend and they're thinking, oh, he's my boy. They don't see that you've already been topping up before you even got there. They don't see it. They think you're a party animal. They think this, but it's like, no, I'm somewhere. I'm accepted now. You know, I used to love the boxing because every cunt was up till 6 a.m. I was up anyway, you know, but I used to love being included in it. And, you know, it gets very sad, very lonely, very quickly. And until I started, you know, until my life took a really lucky and positive turn with meeting a very, very loving woman who stood by me, you know, I was fucked. And I got thrown in the deep end with having a daughter very quickly and, you know, big complications with her birth and all that. And I thought it was game over for me. I nearly lost my daughter in hospital. And I remember thinking, if she dies, I've got nothing to hang on to and I will kill myself with alcohol. And since that moment, because she pulled through, I said, I've got to make a change. Now, that was 2.5 years ago. I'm not saying that I've been a golden since then, but what I have done is actively tried to improve myself every time. I've had my slip-ups. I had 2 pints of my brother's 30th, which is 3 months ago, and my mum looked at me like, oh, my God, because the trauma I put her through, immediately I saw her eyes go, fuck, he's about to go again. But you notice things, and you start to realise that I was the cunt. It was me, you know. The stuff I'd say to people when I was hurting inside, I would throw everyone just toxic energy on everybody. No one wanted to be around me, and I'm starting to build bridges and piece things together now. So you know, it's to answer your question, I've gone a roundabout way, but it is, you know, it is fun, it is glorious, and if you can handle it, like you say, crack on. But if you're sat there thinking, when is this going to stop and can I keep doing this, then you really need to look inside yourself and say, what am I getting out of this? Yeah. Who's winning here?
I'm going to be brutally honest with you. There was and I'm only going to say this stuff because of how positive things are for both of us. I mean, together as a team, and we'll get into that later. But there came a point, and I'm sure that this happened to you, and this must have been heartbreaking for you with a lot of people, but there came a point where I started to, because when I first met you, my career was in tatters. My father had just passed away, and I really was damaged, and I really didn't care about myself at all. But once I started putting work back into my career, and once I started, I mean, I was still using and drinking or whatever, but once I started taking life seriously again, I really felt like I had to distance myself from you.
I remember being sat in your kitchen at one of your events, and you saying, "I just can't have you around me, Cal." And my jaw was in the fucking pub before, and you know, and I know that, and I remember it. But you were right.
Yeah, and actually, it's filling me with a little bit of emotion now saying it, because I do feel, and it is getting me a little bit. I'm sorry, man. I always get emotional with these podcasts, but I felt like if I'd stuck around with you, because I was looking at you and you were skinny, you weren't eating, you couldn't talk, you could not fucking talk most of the time. You'd come in, you'd you know, I was having a couple of bumps here and there, and then maybe the occasional overnight sesh and stuff like that. But every time, there was a period in your life where every time I saw you, you were buckled.
Buckled, mate. Buckled. And I lied to me. So 2 years I did that every day. Yeah. Buckled. And you tell yourself, and you have a day off, and it's like fucking, you reward yourself. You're like, no, it ain't that bad. It is, Dan. Yeah. It was. I remember vividly you saying that, I can't have you around me, mate. And me I couldn't even get the words out to argue my point because I was fucked.
Yeah.
And
there was a couple
that hit me though, but you don't know that was a favour you did me, because I thought, fuck, you know, don't throw away your fucking ticket, don't throw away the people that got you back. You know, that did. I remember it. I remember that vividly.
Because where I connected with you and I got on well with you, and it wasn't just drugs that we had or drink that we had in common, because we used to talk a lot about a lot of stuff. You know, we did used to talk a lot about a lot of stuff and text each other a lot and talk, and but you started coming to my events and getting thrown out, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you know? I mean, I'm just going to say it's like...
I got back in 4 times one time, I remember.
Yeah, you got... I
brought a mob of people with me and the fucking... door staffed in.
Yeah, and everyone when they're around me at an event, you know, they got their cameras out, they're filming or they're doing selfies.
It was this wanker.
Yeah, and you would... Yeah, and it hurt me to say it, but also I was scared, man, because you were triggering me. I mean, every time I saw you, I wanted to get on it and drink. But anyway, the mad thing, and this happened as well with Kirk and other people, a lot of people that I've spoken to on this podcast. In fact, more or less everyone I've spoken to on this podcast has gone through something extremely traumatic while they're on while they're like an addict or drinking. They've gone through something really traumatic that they didn't think they'd be able to get through, right? And then on the other end of that, they fucking sorted their life out. It's insane. Where for me, when my father passed away, I drank and everything, and then loads of other stuff happened that made me realise in my life that I've got to get clean. And for you, it was your daughter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So talk me through that.
Well, you have your rock bottoms. Everyone has your rock bottoms. And I'll just quickly mention what you just said about me just then, about, you know, you've got to get people away from you. I'll be honest, I was selfish. You were a geezer, you had a personality, you had birds around you, you had money, when, you know, more money than I had at that time. And as a selfish guy, I wanted you out, I wanted you on the gear. And you'll find that with friends when you go sober. You'll find the ones that still want to pull you back into it. And I was doing that with you, I'm sure of it. You know, you were a ticket. Yeah, you have to be honest. You know, because I behaved awfully in a big period of my life. But you have multiple rock bottoms, and so, you know, I met my partner Stacey, and you know, we fell in love really, we're still together, like absolutely best relationship. We work on it, we go counselling together, we do everything. You know, we nip problems in the bud before it starts. But I had we got pregnant 2 weeks in, and
2 weeks into meeting her.
2 weeks into meeting her, and I've done the maths on this because she was 3 months premature, but 7 months in we're having a baby. So, you know, she looks just like me. Don't worry about it. I saw her come out. I saw the weight. But you know, we went for a routine check. I remember Stacey said, I haven't felt the baby for a few days, and we went in for a scan. And it was taking a bit long. I was on the phone to my mate Ali at the time, and I said, Ali, I don't think I'll be able to do that. I was sober at this point as well, and I said, I will melt, I will fold if I lose the baby. And Stacey, sure enough, I just felt it. She came out in tears. She said, the baby's not doing very well. We've got to get it out. We need a second opinion. Had a second opinion.
How many months was she? Sorry,
6.5 months pregnant.
Wow.
So it was right at the start of COVID, and they said, we've got to take her in an ambulance, Stacey, to Oxford Hospital. She's having the baby. She's going to have it out tomorrow. But because of COVID, you can't go in. So I'm on my own, right? And she's gone. And
what did you do straight?
4 cans of Stella. And I rang a taxi driver, and I sat with him. The guy was a prem baby as well. You know, when you get in these moments, and I'm drinking Stella, I'm on the way. Bear in mind, 8 months ago, I'm just going about my day, and now I'm on my way to have a kid with a woman that I know, you know, for 7 months. I mean, I'm thinking, what the fuck? And I'm chatting away to this guy, and he's talking about his experience, and he goes, well, he was born, and he goes, they threw me on a slab. It wasn't like these days, and, you know, if he breathes and he eats, you know. But we were chatting, and I started drinking. And I got to hospital, and Stacey was all plugged into this stuff, and we was put in this room, and I was drunk, trying to pretend I wasn't drunk. And I fell asleep for sort of half an hour while we were sharing this bed, and I woke up, I threw up out of nerves, and there was cans in the bloody bin, and the nurse is like, what's this guy doing here? And so I wasn't allowed to see Stacey. They kept her in overnight, and I was in this hotel. And you know what? I reverted so much harder into my alcoholism because I needed to sleep. I thought the only way I can remove this anxiety, this fear, is the only way I've ever known, which is booze. And I was drinking, I reckon I did about, they had the mini bar full of these little JD and cola cans. I reckon I was doing 15 or 20 of them a day, getting 4 hours sleep, back and forth to hospital. And I was drunk when I went to the theatre when she was, when Minnie was born. God. Stacey looked over, she had a C-section, and, you know, I was looking over her shoulder, holding her hand, and I just remember they were like, the nurse pulled me to one side and said, listen, your baby's probably going to die and your missus might die, but don't say anything and just keep it. And I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to sit here? And there was this doctor, and he's got the old mask on, and these beautiful blue eyes, this guy, and he just looked over and he gave me this sort of wink as this baby was being pulled across. They tried to distract me, and they gave her resuscitation for 3 minutes. Bear in mind, she was 563 grams. So, like, you know, to get her heart going and all that. And then he said, do you want to come and see your daughter? And I came over, and this little fucking bean, right, with a woolly hat, all wrapped in foil, was there. And I said, oh, my God. And, you know, it was just an in and out. And so Stacey went back, and you know, we weren't allowed. This was the 22nd. I saw her briefly the next day, but we weren't allowed, me and Stacey, to see her together till Christmas. They gave her a COVID relief thing where we could go in together on Christmas. And You know, she was born with a hole in her heart. She had problems with her lungs, and in 2 days it fixed, and it was fucking mental. And as Christmas started to clear, bear in mind I'm living in this sort of travel lodge, sort of halfway house that the government provides, like on my own. Everyone's out. It's lockdown. No one can come and see you. I was staying in Oxford at the time. I remember walking down Oxford High Street, and I saw my mate on Christmas Eve, Liam Lumley, walking down. He had no idea what's going on in my life. I said, "Lumley, you all right, mate?" Just a mate of a friend. I said, you ain't about for a pint. You couldn't come and sit with me for a minute. And he said, no, I've got to do my Christmas shop. It doesn't know I've just had a kid and that I'm on my own. And as he left, I just burst down crying. And I was like, I'm totally alone here. And I suck solace in alcohol. But you know, I went into the hospital when all the staff coming back, and there was this doctor, this lovely man, and he had like long hair. He looked really quirky with a little bow tie. And he goes, "Are you the dad of Minnie?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Your daughter's in WhatsApp groups all across the world. It's 1 in a million. I don't know how she's pulled through." And I thought, fuck, you know. I thought, fuck, this is it. If I fuck this one up, 1 in a million. Here's your chance, because I would have gone down. So I would have either killed myself through drink or just done it by my own hand if she had gone. And I don't think my relationship with Stacey would have survived that. So my little Minnie had a big chance. And if I don't play the odds, if I don't prove to her that I can be a 1 in a million and turn my life around, then who the fuck am I, you know?
Fucking hell, man. That's
it's a biggie.
It's a biggie, Cal, mate. And
I don't talk about it, Dan, very often. It's probably the first time I've thought about it in a year because she's so great now. But I mean, it's an interesting part of my drinking journey, but something that's really, Peter, I don't want to talk about too much.
Yeah,
you know?
I get that. Yeah, I can't comprehend the thought or feel it. I mean, that's the biggest fear when you're being a father is all the scenarios that go through your head.
Well, your daughter wasn't very well recently, and the pain and panic that goes through you, even though they're going to be okay, it's mortifying. They're so helpless. They look at you like, what's going on? Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, I've gone sober and I'm cleaning my act up for my kids," but for me, sorry, that really choked me up, man. I'm trying my hardest not to cry on this fucking podcast. I'm sorry. Oh, man. This is very different to what we used to do in little rooms like this, isn't it, Cal?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, sorry, mate. It's just because I know you. Give me a hug.
Yeah.
Give me a hug. I'm really happy. I'm happy for you, mate. Yeah. But no, I think about, God, I'm such a bitch. Am I allowed to say bitch?
You can say bitch.
Woo! Okay. Oh, man, I didn't used to get this emotional. Or did I?
Yeah, well... Yeah, not really, no. Listen was what you used to say. Come on, listen.
I was an arm tapper. I was an arm tapper.
Absolutely. You were just a fucking nose, mate.
Yeah. I can remember a picture. That there's one picture that you've sent me multiple times where we're in green. I
can see it in my
Greenie's thing, and I'm stood there with my shirt. I always had my shirt off in the sesh, didn't I?
Every time.
I'd have my shirt off, and I had a massive belly like that. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And then I'd be telling people I'll knock them out and that.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to love it because if someone came in that didn't know you, who liked you, I'd be like, lovely, go and speak to Dan for a bit. And then you'd have your audience. It'd be good, and we can talk about normal stuff.
Yeah. Fight stories normally, wouldn't it?
That never happened.
Fights that I didn't have in year 8. I got nicked that off you.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, sorry, I got a bit emotional then, but I was just going to say and the reason why I'm emotional is and why I feel bad a bit is because I kind of turned my back on you at a point because I just thought, I honestly, I just thought to myself, I can't help him because I'm kind of in the midst of it as well. But I did think to myself, you know, when you just think this just don't seem right. So there was a time a little while ago where you walked into a room. I can't remember where I was, and I went, "Fucking hell, Cal." Do you remember? I can't remember when it was. I didn't even realise you'd gone sober. I can't remember when it was, but I saw you and I was like, "Fuck, mate! Look at you, look well." You must have started getting that a lot because
it feels good when you get it. It doesn't take long.
Yeah.
For you to start feeling good again, and people notice because you don't know how many fans you've got behind the scenes that want to see you. My little sister, big example of that, who would know. She'd go, "Cal." We had a big chat before Christmas. She'd go, "Cal, I'd know if you hadn't had a drink for 5 days, you were funny, you were engaging, but her whole guard would go up if I'd had a drink." And people, they want you to do well. And the support you get. all right, you're gonna have to put up with the fact that you've caused trauma to these people. You've been an arsehole, and you need to understand that you can't push boundaries with them. Like when I tried to have a pint at my brother's 30th, in my mum's face, no, not interested, because that was my fault. Pint or not, it doesn't matter how that would have gone for me. What I did to her just by even looking at it, she's going straight back to.
Oh, here he goes. We've got to go through this again.
Yeah. And when I say I was bad, I mean fucking drinking dregs out recycling bins bad at one point with my parents.
Really?
Yeah, fucked down, like, because I was so terrified of reality and the whole life, that all my worries that I've stuffed down coming up. And as soon as I felt them coming up, I was like, I need something. And it was booze more than the coke for me. The coke was the weekends. That was fun. I never was one of those sort of sit at home.
But the coke, I mean, every time something was going on, you were off your nut. But I mean, behind the scenes, what you're saying is your day-to-day functioning was alcohol.
Yeah. Morning to night. Yeah. Needed it.
But just to go back onto the kids thing, just what I wanted to say is, you know, a lot of people say, I've got a kid now, that's why I want to sort my life out. But for me, and this is really what's stuck in my mind, and I think if anyone out there that's just trying to do the right thing and that's got kids, the way that I look at it is, I look at it because now I've got two. Like this morning, I posted a video of sat in the car with them this morning where they're asking, they're telling me, they're teaching me where babies come from, right? So I've got the.
Where do they come from?
Well, according to Rue, the belly button.
Right. No.
So I've got Neve sat in the front saying that, you know, when mummy and daddy go dancing, and then there's after the dancing, there's a baby in the tummy, and I'm sitting there in the car, and again, I'm so emotional at the moment just because I feel like everything just feels so fucking real.
Well, you've got 15 years of suppression coming out. Look, smell the air.
Yeah, I know. It's so real. It is. And people think that that's like dramatising. It isn't. But I felt emotional because there was a moment there where I thought to myself, this is, right now I'm in a happy memory. I felt like right now I'm in a happy memory. And also I thought to myself, I've got so much patience for these kids in the mornings now. Whereas before, I was like, oh man, just let's get them to school, or let's do this and just get ready. The patience was gone. But what I'm trying to get at is I project myself forward and I think to myself, this is what keeps me on the straight and narrow now, motivated, is I think to myself, when my girls are 18 years old and they look back, how do I want them to picture their father, and what do I want them to say when someone goes, what's your dad like? Now, if that was me 90 days ago, or even, you know, a few months ago or whatever, I mean, I've been on and off causing mayhem within my household, within my relationship. You know how it gets. Do you know what I mean? It's just fucking everything goes to shit, on and off. And now I'm on the straight and narrow, and I believe if I stay, I know for a fact that if I stay on this path, if I stay on the path I'm on now, when they're 18, they'll look back and they'll say, what a great dad. But if I don't, they'll be like, what a prick.
Well, you've got so much to lose when you do that.
Yeah.
Why would you throw it away? And don't you feel better when you're sober?
Yeah. Oh,
you've got energy.
Yeah.
Oh, I can feel it. When you know, because I've had 2.5 years where I've been up and down with sobriety. 8 months where it was probably my longest. Now I reckon I'm going to beat that. I've done with this whole situation.
Yeah.
But when you get back into it, your energy levels are zapped, and you know you're on the sofa, and you don't give a fuck. And if you get on the gear, it's a 4 or 5 day knock-on period where I'm ignoring people, and work suffers, everything suffers, and it's for what? And it's for what?
Yeah, do you know what it is? I think people can only really turn that corner when you know, you have to work it out yourself.
You have to want it.
You have to want it, and like for me now, I'm finding it easy. I'll be honest with you, I'm finding it very easy. I just like, the thing is, you can't make the right choice, because when I put it out in front of me like this, do I want the occasional sesh and you know, that old school getting pissed up with my mates, which I fucking miss. I do miss. I miss getting pissed up with my mates. I miss the session. I miss all of that. But if I had to pick, with a logical head on, if I had to pick between that and a happy family and being proud of myself, what would I pick? I'd pick that. But to even get those choices in front of you,
a lot of hard work.
A lot of hard work. To even get that there, you have to be sober. To even think about that, you have to be sober. So that's why your first month or your first 3 or 4 weeks or 30 days of sobriety is the hardest, because you ain't got enough clarity to even compare the two.
No, it's a journey. For me, the first 2 weeks, where you have to sit with your own emotions, is the terrifying bit. The accumulative come down that you've been running from. And you have to sit with that, and it's easy to fold. I've folded loads of times with that. 3-4 days in, I know what will take the pain away. I know it, and your brain's having a go at each other. And I see it. I don't know. I thought of a good analogy. I love all my Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. And there's a scene where Bilbo's running around in the woods, and they're all foggy and they can't see. Everything's clustered, and he goes through these trees. He climbs up, and the air's there, and the butterflies, and you can see that big breath. And you're in there and you can see everything. And people, fuck me, when people tell you they're proud of you and you ain't heard it for years, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, to me. Oh yeah, it is.
It's just coming out and saying, do you know what? Well done.
Because you've just accepted you're an arsehole.
Oh, he's a cunt. Fuck him off.
Yeah, you have. You've accepted you're an arsehole. Yeah. I mean, like for instance, I know I'm a prick. Yeah. That's the kind of thing. But for me, like Shelley, look, another thing that I think I'll never miss is the paranoia. Now, a lot of people think that it's not just cocaine or whatever. It comes from alcohol as well. But a lot of people think when you talk about paranoia, it's like, oh, who's outside or looking through the curtains or like oh, someone's watching me, like that paranoia. My paranoia wasn't that. My paranoia was, oh my God, I wonder if she's texting someone. I wonder if she's like that jealous. For me, my problem always was being deeply, deeply insecure. I was deeply insecure, and I hid that with that's why I'm so passionate about comedy and creating comedy, because I'm like, do you like me? Do you like me? Am I all right? Am I funny? Am I funny? Am I funny? I'm constantly on it with social media and everything like that. But now, and what come with that is once I'm on a come down or once I was hungover, the insecure, because we learnt this on another podcast. There's like a base level that your body's meant to function at, and just give me that analogy that you were saying. Swip the camera around, get the camera on. Give me that analogy that you were saying. This is John, our producer, that you were saying. I really liked it in the coffee shop about what the body's doing.
Yeah, so I guess when you've had like a long sesh and you're kind of recovering from that, you've used up all your dopamine, your serotonin, and your body is scanning for danger. You're just constantly. You're at that deficit where you're just kind of looking for what the problem is, because your body is in a state of like deprivation. So you're trying to find out what's wrong, and that can, those ideas can be filled from just like say paranoid thoughts, or just like being really kind of edgy. When you're like twitching the curtains, you're just looking for danger because you're not in a comfortable state.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because I'd seek out things to worry about.
No, but that is exactly it, and that was a massive. And I don't like talking too much about mine and Shelley's issues because she's her own person, and it's not really my place. But one thing I can admit is I was definitely one of them partners through a period of time where I was like looking for problems, looking for things that she was doing wrong, projecting that insecurity onto her, and her like waking up fresh. You know what I mean? She's been looking after the kids. I've been out all night. She's waking up fresh. And suddenly she's got all of this fucking drama projected on her, and she had enough of it, mate. Do you know what I mean?
I'm hardly surprising. I did exactly the same. I remember getting a voice note off you, but just before you started this journey, the big journey that you're on now, and you were in bits, Dan. And a lot of people say, "Fuck your missus, she's an idiot. Like you don't need her." Not true. Yeah. Not true. You were bringing nothing but nuisance, and you were disrupting your family's calm. And too right. Same with my Mrs. Stacey. When I started my journey at your house, because
this is crazy.
And I'd been sober for a long time, and Dan said, we had the work lot round, and we said we're going to have a bit of a sesh, and I said, Stace, come on, let's go. And I hadn't drank in ages, and I was drinking in the car on the way up. I said, oh, come on, it's Dan, we'll have a bit, using it, because I was lying to her. I wasn't ready to really stop this journey. I find it that I am. I've accepted that this is what I want to do. It's not for anybody else. But after we had this session, and in the morning, 10 a.m. beer, I could see her looking at me but she knows that she can't say anything because there's people around. She doesn't want to embarrass herself. But as we get out to the car, having known full well that I'm, acting up and I'm about to drive home, we started having a row, and I got all spiritual this time. I had all my crystals and jewellery on. All that got ripped off in our scuffle. Yeah. Right. And she left me at your house, and I had to get an Uber. I had no money. I had to get an Uber. I remember taking a bottle of fucking drink home with me.
That was that. Yeah. And
she went away, mate. She went away for a week, and I had to get my shit together. That's when my first AA meeting was that Thursday, and that's where I didn't look back.
Yeah. I can remember coming downstairs and seeing you walking into my kitchen in the morning. I was like, have you been to sleep? And you were still drinking and stuff like that. And I was like, look, I can't lie. That used to be me back in the day. After, if it was the weekend, if I'd had a session on the Friday, I'd wake up in the morning, or if on the Saturday, and be like, fuck this hangover. I'm drinking.
Yeah, latest, mate. Not doing it.
Yeah, not dealing with this. But and then I didn't see all of that. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately. You wanted to check it was on my cameras. You wanted to check it was on my cameras, didn't you?
She attacked me. I was the victim in all of it. No, I mean, it was something that needed to happen. We had a blow up. There was no way of coming back from that one. I was a loser, and I just don't want Minnie growing up without a dad.
Yeah,
you know.
But yeah, and I think that so let's we've gone through some quite deep stuff. Let's get on to something a little bit positive. So, well. Yeah, we used to we used to talk. I'm just going to go into this actually before I do, but we used to talk quite a lot. You know, if you were somewhere off your nut and I was somewhere off my nut, or if I was drinking and you were drinking, and we'd like text each other or ring each other and speak. And
you'd like to see me because you'd go, I feel shit, but he'll be shitter. You like that?
Yeah.
Right, and he'd fire one into me. How you getting on? I remember he did it one time when I was in Amsterdam. My bird left me, and I thought, right, we might get back. Not if this is the previous girl. I thought I'm going to nail the coffin shut on this relationship because I'm all soft and I'll go and string it along for another 3 months. So I said, right, I'm going to Amsterdam and I'm staying with this bird out there. Out on the outskirts doing sniff for like 3 days straight, and you rang me, and what was I doing? I was doing like a Make-A-Wish thing, when I like as if I was on my way out. It was a bit like that. It was a bit like you're like Jeremy Cole. You know what I mean? You're like, let's watch Cal for a bit, and it make you feel better about your own fucking life. I remember you laughing on voice note, hysterically laughing.
Yeah, no, because you sent me. I just said, where are you, Cal? I ain't heard from you in ages, and you were like, right now I'm nose deep in a coffee table on the outskirts of Amsterdam. In a house full of people I don't know, hiding underneath a blanket. I was like, oh, fucking hell, I'm just on a bit of a come down, but I've got to see this, FaceTime. So I FaceTimed him like that, and he had the blanket round him like that, it looked like Mother Teresa, and he goes, look at everyone in here, and he scanned it round like that, and there was people in there smoking bongs and sniffing gear and that, and I was like, you having fun? He goes, yeah, it's brilliant. I was like, no.
Get me home.
Yeah. I think you actually did say you couldn't give me some money to get home or something like that.
Yeah, when it sounds about something like I'd say, I remember getting that plane home, sitting next to this woman, and I just got through security, and I've fucking said, oh, before we take off, give me a gin and tonic, I need something. My hands were going like that, and she was looking at me, pouring it. She was like, are you all right? I said, yeah, I will be in a minute, don't worry about that. And then like you go straight in the hand about 15 minutes later. But it was a shit show. My life was a shit show, and I look back at it and I go, go on.
No, yeah, because I was just going to jump in now. I was just going to say, because the crazy thing is when you meet you, Cal, and you see what you're doing, you have this preconceived idea that you're from I don't know, some council block and
I'm rich as the rags, bud.
Yeah,
inflicted down the fucking brain.
But you took me to your house once, and you've got I don't know how much your family's house worth, but it's a big old stately home with a swimming pool and fucking horses running around and all, and like fucking. It's a big old house. I mean, it's got to be worth a good 5-10 million or something like that.
I wouldn't know in this economy.
Yeah,
no.
But anyway, I'm not going into that. But what I'm saying is, the first time I went round your house, I went, how the fuck has he turned out a crank? But no, I'm joking because I am playing with you. But what I mean from that is, you'd have this preconceived idea, but you must have been getting funded from your family to a certain extent. Did your mum and dad at some point go, no, more money for Cal?
A lot longer ago than you would think. Yeah, I mean they support me. They've supported me quite recently, like because I'm on a different path. But no, yeah, cut off. I mean. I was homeless for a period of time, and I had to get bailed out of a lot of issues. And I was bouncing when Stacey was pregnant. I was bouncing between her mums, my parents, people's sofas, and what a life when we had a little family. I'm surprised we stuck together. I mean, it's an amazing love story. I mean, we're still there. We really have been in the trenches together.
Didn't you two live in a flat once that didn't have a front door?
No. Okay. So this is situations you get in, right? So and I thought about this. So how the fuck does this happen? So it was COVID, right? And I've gone back to my parents. I said, listen, I don't want to be locked away. And I gave my mate the keys to my house, this flat I was living in. And so he rings me. He goes, I've got locked out. And I'd been drinking. And I said, I'm not dropping the keys down because I've been done twice for drink driving. I said, I'm not going to do it again. So he goes, I've smashed the window. And you don't care when you're half cut. I'll do what you need to do. So he smashed the window. And then he's put a bit of board in, right? Where the hole was, and then he's forgot the keys again like a twat, and he's taken an angle grinder to the bit of wood that he's just filled in. So then there's a hole through that, and then he's forgot the keys on that, and then he's glued a CD case to that. So there's like 3 layers of this cunt going through.
Fucking hell, mate!
Right, and then so I said, listen, the fucking the landlady wants to have a look round. We're getting rid of the flat. And he goes, I go, can you get that door sorted? So he took the door off on a Friday, right, to take it to the chippy to sort out. Got on a sesh, forgot about it, and turned his phone off. But he'd screwed a sheet into where the door should be.
A sheet?
A bed sheet.
On your front door?
On the front door of this flat. And the estate agent went round. I got a phone call from my dad saying, where's the fucking door? What the fuck is it? And it was a bed sheet screwed into it. And he's going, how do you get yourself in these situations? And I was like, I don't know, Dad. I don't know how. No door. And it didn't turn up for like 2 weeks. I said, well, it's a safe area. It hasn't been burgled, look.
Fucking hell, mate. Your old man...
You wouldn't rob a house with a bed sheet on it anyway.
No, you're not going in there. You think someone's fucking...
No.
Yeah, I'm not robbing that. Yeah, there's definitely enough. Everything in that house has been sold for crack.
Yeah. I never smoked it, Dan.
Yeah, I'm joking. What was I going to say? Never smoked it.
Yeah.
You sniffed? No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
No, what was I going to say? So, fucking hell, man. What? Your mum and dad, bless them. I mean...
Bless them indeed.
Bless them, yeah. So... They must be proud of you now. Are they proud of you?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I got a great relationship with my family. I started therapy, which I thought would be a shit show, but I did AA for quite a while. I went in person and then I did the online ones. Found them really, really helpful. So if anyone has anxiety like I get, because it was. When I first went to the live AA, it was because I had no other option. Stacey was going to leave me if I didn't make a conscious effort. And I remember, my brain was so higgledy-piggledy at the time that I got the towns wrong. I'd gone to Charminster instead of Christchurch, and I was halfway there, and I thought, oh my God, I've gone to the wrong one, and I'm going to be late, and Stacey will think I've made this whole story up to get out of it. But luckily, I got there. And a mate of mine, Amasai, came with me. I rang him, and this is how you know your friends are. I've got very few friends. I keep my circle, like you, quite tight. You've got loads of people you know, but they're very few friends. And I said, I'm in trouble here. And his real response was, okay, cool, I'll come with you. And he took me down there, and we listened to it. And it was, for the first 15 minutes, I wanted to get up and leave. I was panicking. I was having a sweaty one. When it's like, oh, I can't, I need space. I need to be out. I need something. But I sat with it. I listened to a very interesting woman who'd been through it, very sort of glamorous life, and destroyed herself through alcohol and drugs. And I saw a lot of people around there. And just some guy stood up and he said, I went to prison, I got in a load of trouble, I got stabbed, just a guy down on his luck. And he said, but I stopped drinking. And he said, and I've got a place to stay, I've got friends, and I've got food in. And he was so proud of that. And I thought, what a lovely example of someone who is just has come out of something so severe and is happy to have friends and not be lonely. And he was lonely because of alcoholism. And I looked at it and I said, well, I'm getting increasingly lonely because of my drinking, because I'm pushing people away. And so I did that. And then I did the online ones, which were nice as well. So, I used to sit in the bath and just have it on and, have it on my phone.
You didn't have the camera on you?
No, I didn't. No.
He's like, this is the best fucking meeting ever.
Yeah, nice. Tell me again, Julie, how bad was it? Really weird. Yeah, nice. But I did, and I used to listen. I found it therapeutic, and there was people in there for a sense of community. And I think, and they used to say at the start, if you've had a drink today, just sit down and be quiet. And there were people that did that. But there was a sense of everybody coming together, and I thought that was lovely. And then I went into alcohol and addiction therapy, and I've got a lovely woman, Garance, this French lady. And it started off, I thought, I'm not sure about this. And now I've immersed into it. At the start, we do the connection, feel the soles of your feet into the carpet and all. It goes up and feel it, and you have to ask yourself an inner question about what you want to talk about, right? But I go along with it.
I'll be like, what fucking accent is that?
You think you'd fight it, but you don't. If you let yourself go into it. And what she taught me, which is so strange, is I hated myself, and I drank because I hated who I was, and alcohol never made it any better, but it stopped it for a little while. And I got to the cause. I was a skinny guy at school who was self-conscious, and I was, the cool kids were drinking, and I played up, and I couldn't stop, and I just went in. I lost focus from about the age of 18. I was drinking. I was working in London as a chef, and I was coming home having 6 pints a night. Skinny boy, 6 pints. That's a lot. And then getting up at 5 in the morning, doing it again, and repeat. And it just got more and more. And because I had work, I wasn't drinking in the day. But then when work went away, then suddenly you've got this void that you feel. And it gets more and more. And actually, I'm in a position now, I don't drink, but I can have a beer. I can tell myself I'm going to have a beer because I can't see it going anywhere wrong, because I'm addressing what caused it all. And I think I'll do therapy for the rest of my life. I might take it down to once a month. But you know, it's a space, and all my thoughts that are all in a jumbled up sort of mess, like it's almost like TV static, but with lines going everywhere. By the end of an hour, it's all linear. I've narrowed it down, and I know I could think about it. And I go, actually, I didn't have the worst week in my life. I've had a bit of stress with work, as you know, we've launched a huge business, and everyone wants things to go well, and getting these things the way you want is hard. And I told her about that, and then she was like, "So tell me about some other stories from your past." And I went down, and we're laughing like we are, but she goes, "That was mental, Callum, and you've just had a bad week at work. You've stopped. That's not the worst week of your life. What are you talking about?"
I think that I do counselling as well.
Yeah.
And weirdly, my counselling ran with my sobriety. So last year, when and my counselling was spurred on from my outbursts of paranoia and kicking off, because I'd go through these weird moments where I'd be like, "Oh, fucking everything's against me, fucking what is going on, what are you saying, fucking why is that person being a dick, why is that person," I'd have these massive outbursts where I was fucking aggy for like an hour.
Poor old me.
Yeah, poor me, why is everyone against me? And then suddenly I'd snap out of it and I'd be like, "Well, what have I said, what did I say? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that," but then it's too late, you've said everything. And I just didn't understand these emotional self-destruct outbursts. Anyway, so I went and started speaking to her, and when I started speaking to her last time, that's when I'd done my last period of sobriety.
Yeah.
And towards the end of it, I was like, "I'm going to start drinking again at Christmas," and I was saying it's coming out of it, and she was like, "I don't think you should, because it could lead to the drugs and it could lead to your emotion. Like, you seem so good now." And I was like, "No, I'll be fine," which I wasn't, obviously, but. I stopped going to her. I messaged her one day and said, "You know what? I'm not going to come back this week." And because when I was drinking and stuff, I didn't have the time. I just didn't have the time to see her, because my spare time was filled up with me trying to get all my work in order. I didn't have that hour anymore, just 1 hour.
The time you have when you're fucking sober, it's unbelievable. And getting up and feeling normal and don't have to fight anything. Oh my God. You've got so much. I relax more than I've ever relaxed and get more done. Yeah.
Yeah, and just on that, yeah, so I'm back seeing her now and talking and feeling better. I definitely advise that to anyone out there that feels, like you said, that everything's tangled up.
Yeah.
Because because the truth of the matter is, like, right now I feel really fucking happy. Yeah. I don't have any paranoia or worry. I don't think any bad things are going to happen to me. I wake up, I get my workout done, I feel good.
Yeah.
But if you've got all that tangling up, it's good. Did you want to say something on that point?
No, I was just thinking how lovely it is. Yeah, I'm just thinking what's for lunch. That's my fault.
Yeah, all right, we're nearly done.
No, not like that. Hey, not like that. But I know what you mean. It's just the real worries aren't there.
Yeah.
Be a human, a man.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I wake up and I actually feel weird that I'm not pissed off half the time anymore. Yeah. It does feel weird. But I just want to finish on a positive note. So through Callum's sobriety and getting his act together, a good power of both of ours and my business partner on, I think, all my businesses on the nightclub and on Run Rally and some other ones. Carlos, he came up with a great idea. Obviously, you're linked to sort of the glamour industry, girls and stuff like that. And you had Front Fans, the magazine, the online platform.
Yeah.
And your partner's linked to the industry. And Carlos come up with a great idea about taking like OnlyFans and adding the crypto element to it, because one of our other business partners is heavy in crypto.
Yeah.
And Carlos took a big punt on you, man.
Massive punt. Massive. Daddy Carl. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. And like Carlos for me is he's one of the only people around me that was really telling me, man, come on, we're meant to be in a fucking meeting.
He really reads people, and he protected me because I was still using at the start of it, and I was sending shitty messages and chasing money down and things. And Carl
he sensed it.
He put a barrier between me and doing real damage. He said, "You stay there," and he managed me incredibly well. I owe Carl a lot, actually.
Yeah.
A huge amount.
And I can remember, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Carl come to me because everything Carl gets into business-wise, normally I'm involved in, and vice versa. And he come to me and he said, "Look, I'm thinking about pulling Callum in and giving him a percentage of this." I mean, the industry, OnlyFans, I don't know what the billions. It's billions, isn't it? A year.
Massive, yeah.
It's billions a year, and so if you can even get a small percentage of that, and you can mix in the crypto element to it, and what we managed to do with the platform is, the girls essentially on OnlyFans, it takes them a long time to get their money out, and there's a lot of chargebacks, and there's loads of stuff like that. And the cryptocurrency element of it cuts it out. They can access their money straight away. They can manage more. There's better features and all this, which is all well and good if we've got a good team behind it, pushing it and everything. And he come to me and he said, the link to the industry and someone with knowledge is Callum. What do you think about working with Callum?
Yeah.
And by this point, you know, you'd started getting your act together. But me and you had spoken about business before, and it had always turned into like. And I kind of said to Callum, look, I said to Cole, I said, look, the guy's fucking intelligent. I said he's very intelligent. He's very motivated. But if he's drinking and doing gear, he's going to fuck us.
Yeah.
He's going to fuck us. Yeah. And I said, so from my perspective, I'm happy with it. But you've got to manage him. And he was like, I can manage him. And he can, and he's very good because he senses the same behaviour in you that he did in me. Like for instance, if I don't want to do this meeting, or I was missing meetings, or I was getting angry.
He'll
and stuff
find
like,
you. It was a detective Carl,
He'll
mate.
find you, and he'll be like,
liar.
Yeah, you're a liar. Or he'll contact someone. Was he out with you last night?
Yeah, and he knows every fucker as well, so you can't get away with it.
But what a beautiful thing happened, man. You took us, you grew the business. We've launched the business. You're managing it, and I just wanted to finish the podcast by saying, all that time ago when we first met, and when I sort of turned my back on you because I thought you was a bit of a lost cause, and I was scared where you were taking me, to fast forward to both of us sitting here being sober and potentially having one of the biggest businesses, certainly in my portfolio.
Yeah.
And looking forward to a massive year. I just want to say well done, man.
Thank you ever so much. Yeah, no, well done to you. You know, we've both come a long way, which is great. It's nice to be smiles, isn't it?
It is.
Sitting in a dark room and
not sniffing gear,
not having PTSD after it. You know.
But I thought this was going to be just an hour of sordid, horrible stories and stuff we got up with, but that was beautiful.
Yeah,
you should be really proud of yourself,
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I love it. Big moment for me. Huge moment.
I really felt like you needed to talk. You didn't shut up. He didn't shut up, did he?
Yeah, well, it's nice to be taken seriously for once.
No.
It is. It feels good. So thank you, Dan.
I'm proud of you. Cole's proud of you, and I'm excited what this year holds, man.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Lovely.
All right, I'm just going to finish up. Woo! That was emotional. Very good. Thank you. And look, go follow. You're banned from Instagram. Don't worry about following him, but go check out Front Fans.
Yeah.
Go check out Front Fans on Instagram if you want to see the work that he's put into that. And please leave a comment on here. Let us know if there's anything that touched you emotionally or that you connected with. Please leave it in the comments. Also, please share the podcast if you think it can help. Brilliant people like Callum are coming on. I'm reaching out to my friends and people in my circle that I know have been through similar stuff to me and asking them to open up. So they're giving. Please give back by sharing this. And let me know if there's anyone interested and you want to come on, and make sure you're following me. And thank you very much. From me to you. If you need to talk, go in the Mates Men and Their Emotions group. And that's another podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Callum.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
Woo! If you're going through a tough time at the moment, please don't suffer in silence. Feel free to pick up the phone and contact any of these helplines. I personally, myself, at one of my darkest points, contacted the Samaritans, and it completely changed my outlook and got me out of a really deep, dark place. A problem shared really is a problem halved. So if you don't feel confident talking to those around you, check out any of these organisations and give them a call. This is my Facebook group. Just simply search on Facebook, Men and Their Emotions. It's for men only. But once you're in there, you can talk anonymously about your problems and help others and just feel a little bit of community. So come join the conversation, Men and Their Emotions, on Facebook. Thanks for watching.
Menace to sobriety. Just a menace. Just